This is a service of love, that it isn't just about vindicating people's rights, as important as that is, but it is about a form of total service to people.
Think of the situation, though, in a more general context. The people in industry very rarely have any grasp of what's involved in the intellectual disability side of things. All the activities that go on there, from educating people, looking after them, providing them with as much independence and so forth as possible. Very little grasp of all that.
People are looking to technology to solve a lot of problems, but you can create worse problems if you don't do it right. And so I felt that great good could come from at least introducing some ideas, and yet introducing them to a group of professionals who had such compassion and had values that were compatible with that relational approach.
One of the things I found in this conference is that it has really broadened my idea in terms of technology and persons with disability. And what I found, it is the everyday person that has something to contribute, because you can even take materials and rethink it in terms of how can it be used.
And in a sense, it encapsulated to me what the conference is all about, which is trying to make sure that where technical aids are available to help people with intellectual disability, that we try to make sure they're put in place and that they're used effectively.
Both the people we'd be working with and the pursuit is actually to go beyond the medical model. So that allowed me to not have to continue that kind of, I think, just traditional dialogue, trying to refute the core medical concepts of bioethics and have a fresh start and say, we're doing something new. Technology's new, the excitement is new, the people involved have the same values about relationship and respect and inclusion. So major inroads could be made. And also any opportunity to work with a top flight group of scholars is always fun.
The efforts to bring together a collaborative group and to create the Institute, I thought was a stellar idea. The idea of focusing around technology for a first approximation, I thought was a very good idea. And of course, during the times of the Celtic Tiger, to the technology boom in Ireland, I thought positioned them well to capitalize on that. And even as the economy has changed, the intellectual and engineering resources are still available.
Well, this was a real different kind of approach. You know, when we first started talking, and this goes back to about 2009, where the Daughters of Charity and Michigan State University started talking about doing something together in terms of a conference. And then we also at times would talk about research. Is there anything, because from our perspective, that was the unique capacity that we were able to lay on the table. The discussions, though, quickly evolved, and we started talking more about an international educational conference, and quickly the topic of most interest that they thought was technology. And obviously there was a great need to look at the impact of technology for people with intellectual disabilities.
We have for a number of years been involved in providing, I suppose, a lot of assistive technology in different small ways in terms of service clients and what we call service user clients. Mainly in activation programs, and mainly in, I suppose, stimulation programs, but also in terms of person-centered planning, for example, where you involve the service user insofar as they can be involved, using technology in an assistive way to help them to explain to us what they want as part of their daily lives and their quality of life. So really what we're looking at towards, I suppose, pushing the boundaries towards saying, okay, in what way can the technology that we've all seen improve our other lives now be used to improve the lives of people with intellectual disability? And that's our perspective now, why we're looking at disabilities in general today, and even the, I suppose, the the physical and sensory is a much more practical application for people who can very much advocate for themselves, for people with the challenges that our people have, which is that extra dimension of mental capacity, or lack of, or at different levels, particularly severe and profound category. There are significant challenges, and we have used assistive technology in ways that monitor service users in a less obtrusive way, where they need constant monitoring. Now, there are all kinds of etiquette issues about that. We've used assistive technology in terms of controlling water flow, because you have service users who will drink water or burn themselves with taps that we have to put sensors on. So we have used technology in lots of ways, but we believe that we're only touching the surface.
Now, we did broaden the conference out to include other disabilities as well, but in relation to what the Daughters of Charity serve, the people with significant intellectual disabilities along with coexisting disabilities was our aim in relation to looking at what the impact of technology was. We first met to start to really talk about the conference in earnest this past February, so only 7 months ago. And at that time, really what we were thinking about was a conference, and then we had this other idea kind of percolating as we started to talk. Initially, it was about promoting doctoral level research at the Daughters of Charity. There were a number of people. The clinical director, Martin, was already talking about this in earnest and had written a memo about it that I saw. And it seemed to really make a lot of sense, is not only do an educational conference, but to start to really invest in research all over the Daughters of Charity, and maybe specifically in relation to technology at some later date. So with some discussions and some meetings this summer, we started to really put this together in a very meaningful way with that October 16th deadline to try to get everything done. So to take on those two challenges of one, developing a conference, a one-day international conference on technology and disability and intellectual disability in particular, and then to also think about creating an institute that would be interdisciplinary in nature and address the needs of the Daughters of Charity. And what we ended up doing was laying out some general framework for how this could work together. And to my surprise, we found great excitement about this and very little hesitation. Although one of the difficulties, I think, in thinking about it is the general economy and the state of affairs in relation to funding in general. In Ireland right now, as it is in the United States. It's hard to innovate when everybody's cutting back. However, and this was where respect really came in, and Dermot Desmond, and the wonderful support that unit gives the Daughters of Charity to raise private funds. And so it became an opportunity to look at it, the research side in particular, a little more seriously. And it quickly moved from just providing some fellowship money to doctoral students to actually creating the Institute. And the Institute idea really gained some steam over the summertime. And that's where we're talking about hiring a full-time staff to run the Institute, but then to have university partners heavily involved in the identification of the mission, the research questions, and in terms of providing the kind of rigorous methodology that would really be state-of-the-art in relation to going after some of these questions regarding the impact of interventions in relation to people and the aspirations that they have in their own dreams and careers. So it took root pretty quickly. And then we found that there was more interest. The initial group of universities that we thought about were Michigan State University, Dublin City University, DCU, Trinity University, and UCD. But quickly, after we started things moving, we also got great interest from the Royal College of Surgeons of Ireland, and then also from the University of Limerick. So it ended up with 6 universities. We went ahead and drafted the Memorandum of Understanding, and again, to my great surprise, this was something accepted at all 5 other universities and allowed us now to really roll out the Institute while we did the conference, which was the original plan. And I can't tell you the amount of work that went on, particularly with Sister Martha and her staff and Liam Walsh and all the people that helped.
It gives me great pleasure to have participated in today's conference. This conference was born from an idea, a dream, and today it has become a reality. Through the support of respect the thinking of the Quality and Standards Committee and the total support of the executive and the board, this has moved forward. And I want to say a very warm thank you to each one of you.
Today is the start of a new journey, and I want you to keep in touch through our website, DOCTRID.com. And once again, a sincere thank you to everybody for your participation, for coming and for staying with us. We really appreciate it very much indeed.
I think we've had a very successful conference. I think one of the features of it was the multidisciplinary approach. People coming from many different backgrounds, an international gathering, a gathering of people from academia, from science, representative of government, and of course the Daughters of Charity and those who support them. And this has been a real eye-opener, I think, for many people. And I think one of the themes underlying our work today was that this is a service of love, that it isn't just about vindicating people's rights, as important as that is, but it is about a form of total service to people. And I think that is the characteristic spirit of the Daughters of Charity's work and of respect. And I think there was a great buy-in to all of that today.